perfect, but it's closer. I think I need my blower, clean all this up some. Start kind of doing some measurements of how long I want them. And then we're just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna shoot for like 2 foot, 24 inches. It's right here. I think that's a better size. We're gonna go about 24 here. Get us a straight cut here to match this one. Like this. Like that. I think the bottom I'm gonna make about 1.25 inches thick, which is pretty thick. So I'm just gonna cut down a couple inches first before I cut my bottoms off. That way my bottoms match my cuts on the log perfectly. So that's going to be the bottom of the box. There we go. Now is where fun begins. You see, this stuff's pretty sappy, so I'm gonna keep it up off the ground. All right, this is gonna be a huge one here. Let's just cut it and go with it. Now, before I can go any further, I'd have to cut my top off. And I gotta figure out if I want to leave a round top or just have a flat top. So if I leave a round top, I'm gonna have to have it big like that for it to work. I think we're just gonna try a flat top. wasn't terrible. Definitely not terrible. A little wider on one side. A little character. Got a tad, little bit of curve to it, but that's what's up. Now we gotta hollow this out. Check this thing out. This is a huge pine log chest. Very heavy. It'd like to kill me moving it up here. My idea with this thing is I'm wanting to make log chest, but I had an idea for this where I might want to put this one for the time being, especially while it dries. I was thinking I would like this as a cabinet, but I also want it to stay functional as a chest. I really want to make a cut here for my hinge that makes the back go down and touch the other part of the back and stay open just like that. So you don't need chains or anything like that to stop it. That'll just be a part of the design that I'm going for. Hopefully I get that right, or the next one will definitely get it right if we don't get this one right. And then on this side, so I got to make that cut there for the hinges there, and then this side I think I'm gonna do kind of the exact same style of cut so it matches on both sides. So I'm also gonna do a cut here where that'll allow my fingers to go up under there like that, where it's easy to open and shut. And the same way if it's a cabinet or a chest. Once I do those two cuts, then I'll know how much more wood I can remove out of this thing, because this thing is so heavy. I have to eliminate as much of this bulk of this wood as possible to lighten this thing up. That looks pretty cool. I'm not sure about the bark yet. I could sand the bark a little bit. It's just so thick. But I could sand it a little bit. I think that could possibly look pretty nice with a finish on it. And just leave it naturally barked. And then maybe, I don't know, we'll see what it does once it dries. The bark could just fall off as it dries. Sometimes when you put finish over it, a clear coat over it, it soaks in and it hardens it and makes it stay forever. This is already a very big opening already. So the more I can take out, the better, but it's still already very nice. I could fit a lot of clothes in there. I could fit quite a huge blanket in that. See, it is pretty big already. That's a pretty big old hole. So I gotta do some marks on the top here, mark where I'm gonna do some cuts and get it in. I'm trying to figure out how I'm working these hinges. I'm thinking it might go in like right like that in the middle of that. So then when this whole lid hinges back, it should hit this and stop. That's why I'm making that gap. The back isn't really sticking over enough, unless the bark stayed. This is why it's kind of hard to work with that round going sideways like that. I think we're good. I think we're going with that. I could either put the hinges like that. Oh no, they're not really made. So you definitely gotta insert them in the cut. So we're gonna cut this right down the middle where our hinge will go right in there. We're gonna have 4 of them, just to make sure it's nice and sturdy. To go at an angle, maybe I should try an angle. That might look cool. It's gonna look cool no matter what, I guess. No matter what we do. And then as we do more of them, we can learn the cuts we need to do to make it function and look cool, and then we'll go from there and do even better ones. So let's try an angle and see how that looks. I think that's gonna look nice. And to mark my square here, where that's kind of like the minimum, I'm gonna cut out and bore out. Since this is gonna be dual purpose, a chest or a cabinet, I'm gonna do the top and the bottom of the cabinet the same because I want my chest sides to be the same. And then the sides of the cabinet, I'm gonna kind of bore in round a little bit on the insides. Give it like the barrel shape on the inside like it has on the outside, because I have a lot more wood down here in the middle than I do up here. But I'm gonna try not to pass this line much on the top. But on the inside I can go quite a bit deeper. First I gotta make some cuts. These 2 straight cuts as nice as I can. Actually, I might go ahead and do 4 and just like I cut this out, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it all out again. Oh yeah, that looks cool. I like that. And then as long as the bark's still on, I'm gonna have to soak this bark and finish to hope it stays on. I want the bark to stay on the door for sure, or on the lid, because you gotta have that handle. So without the bark, that handle wouldn't be there anymore. So I gotta protect that. But yeah, that is awesome. Come out now, babe. Whew. This would have been a really nice piece if this didn't get damaged over here, but that one kind of wasn't on track. Ow. Oh yeah, that is pretty cool though. I guess I could do something with just cut the front off and have like a shelf. That's kind of cool. Huh. I'm gonna do something with this. Check that out. It's still gonna be super heavy, but holy crap. I can take a little bit more off. That's a pretty nice cut. Now I just gotta touch it up some. Maybe even widen out the sides a little more. Or the front and back. Or the sides. Whichever. And with the back on, there's the back of the cabinet. Box, back and bottom. And that's just gonna screw back on just like that. Then we got the door lid. I started using the little 440. I started to carve this out and try and shape it. I tell you, this pine is the worst wood to chainsaw carve, especially when it's wet like this. So I have, after the carving process, usually that's when I do my last cut, because I kind of want to shape this top part that's going to be attached to the top slash door. I want it the same shape as this when I chainsaw carve it, then I cut it, so when I open my door they match like a butterfly. But I'm not going to be able to do that to this right now. I think I'm going to do my last cut. I'm going to temporarily assemble this box cabinet and just let it sit a month or two, or maybe all freaking winter. I don't know. I mean, I can't even sand this right now. There's so much sap coming out of it. So I'm going to do my last cut. I'm going to assemble this thing, and then I'm going to see if I can get it in here and just hopefully still use it as a cabinet while it's drying, and also have it to look at for other ideas. I'm having second thoughts about doing any more of these pine boxes. This sap is getting all over my clothes. I mean, it's just horrible. Look at them gloves. They're trash after this. And it's getting all over my saws. So, I'm just not sure. But I'm going to do this last cut. Assemble this thing. And see what it looks like. This cut has to be as close to perfect as possible. There we go. There's our door frame. Oh yeah. That was actually a pretty decent cut. Might have a, yeah. Heck yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and assemble it, like I said, temporarily, and then in a couple months or whatever, I'll take it back apart and sand the crap out of it. Maybe even shape it a little and everything, but I'm not gonna even waste my time ruining a bunch of sandpaper and getting this all over my sander either. So this has got to dry. Check this out. We got pretty gold hinges. That looks sweet. And look, it stops right there. It stays open. Perfect. Actually, I mean, it could go back a tiny bit more, but I mean, that's pretty good right there. Look at them hinges. And we got the front. Could definitely use a lot of sanding. This is basically a blank, fresh box, cabinet, chest, for art. Just a blank canvas for art. I just have to let it dry, let some of this sap dry and stop leaking out, and then I'll take all the hinges off, take it back apart, sand it really good, do whatever kind of designs and art on it I want to, and then glue it all together. This will be a very, very nice chest cabinet. Wow. I don't know if I want to continue carving this pine. It's so sappy. The chainsaws do cut it good, but this sap gets all over everything. You think it's worth it? I mean, it is a very nice solid box, and it should dry very nice too. Pine seems to dry pretty good and hard. Oh yeah. All these screws, heads are temporary. They'll eventually get hidden. All the screws will. I'm gonna move this thing over to the shelter and see if we can hang it as a cabinet. I'm not gonna exactly hang it. I'm gonna sit it on a spot. I'll show you. I'm gonna try anyway. Some things are cool when you're thinking about it, but then when you try to make it happen. But I'm gonna try to set it up as a cabinet for now while it dries, and then I can get to it later. But the bottom's on it. Got 4 screws in there just holding it in place while it dries. And oh yeah, just get a nice close view of it while it's sitting as a chest. Look at that. Tell me that ain't cool. And look how big it is. That's a huge storage. That is big. Huge for a blanket. Big old comforter. I could probably roll up and fit every pair of pants I own in here. This would hold a whole lot of shirts. I mean, just memorabilia. I mean, I could also put a lock on the front. I have it kind of designed where, you know, I cut the front where I have room to add a lock or anything I want, or anything somebody would want. Side view here. Work our way to the back. The hinges. My air hose is in the way, but there's my cabinet. That's how it's gonna look as a cabinet. It's hard to explain how much more beautiful it'll be after you do a whole lot of sanding and a finish and everything. That's how it looks as a cabinet, and opens up like that. And all that. I definitely need to add a latch to hold it shut while it dries. I definitely need something to latch it shut. Something temporary just to hold it all the way shut while it dries all the way. But oh my gosh, that just came out very awesome. And you have the top you can sit stuff on and everything. I put it here first. I was hoping it would sit on my rail right here and then I could mount it, screw it to the tree. It wasn't working out how I liked it. The fence rail is just kind of too far away. I would have to add a piece of wood here or something, which I might still do, because I was kind of, instead of it there, I was picturing it here, but it wasn't working out how I wanted, so I moved it over there to that shelf for now. And not only as a chest does it stop at that point, it also stops at that point as a cabinet too. So that's kind of cool. The door only opens to a certain point, so it's not flinging open and stuff. And that's what it looks like on the side with our pretty hinges. I can definitely get creative with these chests and cabinets for sure. And there's the back, where you could hang it on a flat wall or sit it down as a big old log chest. That's about finished for now. Turned out pretty cool. I'm actually pretty dang happy with that thing. That's all right. Motivates me to do another one, but I kind of want to work with some maple. I miss chainsaw carving maple. I want to do more birdhouse boxes, more smaller log boxes, big ones like that. I really like carving them vertical where the lids go up like this. I love the style of this log box here. I love that. I mean, that's just the coolest little storage box with legs. So I really love doing those. We definitely want to get back into these birdhouse log boxes. I love making those. So I'm really ready to get back into some chainsaw carving. What is this? This is oak. Love carving the oak and the maple way more than that pine. That pine had me aggravated yesterday. Dang near ruined the hoodie I was wearing. It has sap all over it. So you get it all over your clothes, all over the tools and the saws. So I think I'm taking a break from the pine for now. I think I'm gonna move to another tree, some maple. I'm also gonna be getting back into the shelter too. I just like to mix it up, you know, and do something new, and then that helps you build motivation to go back to what you're doing. That's how I've been since I've been here. That's why I have a bunch of cool projects everywhere, and I'm always just switching up, working on all of them. It just keeps me entertained and not getting bored with what I'm doing, because when you do something so much and you get bored, then you lose your creativity, because it becomes, your hobby starts becoming more like work. So that's why I like to have a lot of different chainsaw hobbies, so I can switch it up, go back and forth, cut down different trees, and you know. So I think the next video is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens.